Gawis ay labi kanda dako ang in, sakon ni Piya makliing malayaw, my roots are from mainit bontok ken Kalinga. I am currently the Secretary General of Katribu. It is a National Alliance of Indigenous Peoples organization in the Philippines. I came here to tell about the situation of our communities in our motherland, to seek support and build solidarity relations with the First Nations or the indigenous peoples here in Canada and other peoples here in Canada. We are raised in Manila, far from the lands and far from our communities. In some point of our life, we have experienced in Manila some kind of discrimination, being teased as being an Igorot. But despite that, there is still something that tells me that I long for our people. I long for our land, our culture, our rich culture. I love our culture. I love the songs and the dances of our peoples, the chants of our people. Whenever I go home, I enjoy the community gatherings such as this kind of gathering. I try to learn our dances and our songs. There are many songs we have in our community, right? Dung dung ay si dung ilay, ing sinali dung maay. Dung dung ay si dung ilay, ing sinali dung maay. Umangon Cordillera, intang naman kay Pilipino memorya, mangilaban sinuda. I hope that our generations and the younger generations are aware of our history. It gives more weight and meaning to every tune of our song, to every beat of our drums, to every movement of our dances. It gives us a sense of pride as people, as Igorot people, as Cordillerans. It gives us the reason why land is life for us as Cordillerans, why land is life for the indigenous peoples. This is not just a history. It is a continuing story and a journey of our people in the Cordillera, as well as other indigenous communities throughout the country. There are big mining corporations in the Cordillera. 60%, more than 60% of the Cordillera are now applied with mining operations, which only contributes less than 2% to our economy. Throughout the country, there are many energy projects which would displace hundreds of communities for the benefit of the few. It is the same reason why our ancestors resisted the World Bank-funded Chico Dam and the cellophane logging back in the 1970s and 1980s. In other parts of the countries, in indigenous territories as well, thousands of hectares of lands are being converted into plantations of banana, pineapple, palm oil, and different energy projects. Again, this displaces indigenous people's community and destroys our culture. We have resisted this kind of destructive projects. Other indigenous peoples throughout the country are resisting too. But as we resist, as we defend our lands, our life, our culture, we also face repression, human rights violation. In Mindanao, the Lumads, the indigenous peoples in Mindanao, they are being killed, literally killed, because they are resisting destructive projects such as mining and energy projects. They are upholding the rights to ancestral lands and our livelihood, which has sustained generations and which has supported the culture and our traditions. In Mindanao, because of the lack of education and continuing discrimination against the indigenous peoples, they try to build their own indigenous schools. These are academic schools which also features and develops the culture of the indigenous peoples and the tradition of their communities. Unfortunately, these elementary schools and high schools are being also threatened. They are being tagged as rebel schools. This allows violations to their rights, and some of the teachers have been killed. Leaders are being killed, just like the experience of the Cordillera people and Ama Maclean Bulag in the 1980s. These kinds of issues give us more reason to unite for our land, for our environment, our communities, for our culture and dignity as Cordilleran, and gives us more reason to be in solidarity with other indigenous peoples throughout the country. As of the present, there are at least 72 indigenous peoples killed in the Philippines because of resisting this kind of destructive projects. We are doing a lot in our motherland for a better future for our future generations. But there are great challenges even for us Cordillerans who are here. Let us know more about the issues of our land. Let us know more about the history and tell the next generation our history, our valiant history. There's a need to share to others this kind of information, the demands of the people from our land, in a united voice. There's a need for social awareness, involvement, and collective actions for our families, our communities, and our land, which has sustained generations of our people. So I will end here, and in memory of our ancestors, our heroes, and for the future generation of our people, we are taking up the challenge, and we are inviting you to be part of the continuing journey of the Cordillerans and the indigenous peoples. Thank you very much. Issues. Number 1 is to stop the killings of indigenous peoples. Stop the criminalization of our legitimate defense for our lands and our culture. Number 2, stop large-scale and destructive mining, and remove the Mining Act of 1995, which only allows foreigners to benefit from our mineral resources. And number 3, let us support indigenous schools which upholds the culture and livelihood of our communities in the Philippines. Thank you very much.